George, welcome to the podcast. It's good to have you here today.
Good morning. I'm so happy. I don't know whether it's morning or afternoon because I'm a Vegas guy, so I don't even have a sleeping schedule anymore, Brett. So I don't know what time it is. I go to bed when I want to go to bed. I just woke up and I got to do some maintenance here because I got my glasses on. You ever notice sometimes people's glasses are dirty and you can't say anything? I'm gonna try to do that, or or it might be my I'm gonna go across the screen like that because I'm not coming to as clear as I'd like to. So I hope you see me well enough to be able to communicate with me.
I do. Well, I'm in California, so we're pretty close on time zones. So, how
Wait,
was?
wait, 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 wait. Now, I said I'm a Las Vegas guy, but I'm in Atlanta. So we're not,
Oh, okay. See,
Las
I
Vegas
wasn't
and
listening.
oh, I'm closer to Florida. Okay. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, next state to Florida. I don't know what's going on, but Georgia is catching up in stupidity. Okay.
Really?
Oh, we're doing some stupid stuff down here, man. It's crazy. People walking around. They haven't heard of the COVID's in Georgia yet. People running around without masks, and it's crazy here. And we're
Really?
trying to
So
get,
there's no restrictions there in
yeah,
Atlanta.
yeah, they are, but they they don't read. They don't read. People are. You see what happened in Florida the past weekend, and with the Super Bowl, it's like nothing going on, and it's pretty crazy in your state too, in California.
It's
Uh,
terrible right now, and it's so interesting because our governor can't really decide what to do. And so now he's just kind of left it up to the individual counties and that sort of thing. So I am in the Bay Area county, so San Jose County. So I don't
so
know. So, it's really interesting, George, because it just fluctuates so much. Now, you obviously you're a Vegas guy, you work there, you live there when you're performing. So, I'm assuming, and please correct me if I'm wrong, once COVID hit and it all shut down, you went back home to Atlanta, right? That's what happened.
yes, we shut down. I actually was doing Netflix show with Jamie Foxx's series,
Okay.
and we shut down on March 13th. And I decided to go back to Las Vegas for a few days, and then um, um, for safety reasons at that time we didn't know what was going on. So I said, you know, I don't want to catch this virus. I didn't know what was going on, so I'm going to go back to my home in Atlanta. And I came back. I came here because my family is here in Atlanta, and it's also the home of the CDC. So my stupid ass thought, if I get, listen, this is a true story. I'm thinking if they can handle Ebola, they can handle the virus, right?
Oh
So
my
I said, I'm going to be,
God.
and I can look out of my window right now and actually see the CDC building. And I really thought that I said, at least I'll be close to the CDC if they come up with a vaccine. And they do have a vaccine. And I got the vaccine 2 weeks ago, and I got one more week this Saturday. I'm due for my second shot, and I'm here in a big African American city, and I'm just hoping and trying to energize the African American community to get their shots. And I'm Brett. I'm just crazy here. I talk too much, and my head is crazy because I also have a business on the side. I'm
Oh,
selling
really?
I'm selling fake IDs uh, for like if your age, people your age, like in the 50s or 30s and the 60s. If I'm selling fake IDs for the COVID shot, if you need a fake ID, people,
Well,
if
I'm
you need to be
46.
older,
So, I mean, if you can hook me up, man, I guess you're the
yeah,
guy.
it comes with a mask and makes you look like Keith Richards. It comes with a cane, so it's fake fake ID for young people. That's what I wanted to do, but now, Brett, I'm really considering maybe becoming a personal shopper.
Like DoorDash or
No,
Postmates?
no, no, like Kevin Hart's personal. This just happened today. Maybe you haven't heard
Yes.
about it
Oh
yet.
my God. What a mess that is all about.
So I called both my personal shoppers to my house today, and I instructed both of them. You both go to Dick's Sporting Goods, get a gun, get one that you're comfortable with. Make sure you're comfortable with it. Your own.
I
It's
can't believe that. Like when I saw that story, I think Kevin is great, the best, but I swear, I feel like he has just had a rough run with that sort of stuff happening to him lately. There was that, and then there was another incident that happened just a few months ago,
yeah,
so
and the wife and all the crazy stuff. I'm teaching young comedians. Brett, are you a comedian? I'm teaching the young comedians to uh, don't worry about being number one on the mountain. Just be on your way up the mountain.
That's
I
good
tend to
advice.
find I've been around for 45. I've been doing comedy since 1883. So let me tell you, I teach the young comedians. Everybody wants to be number one. You know, it's kind of like the airline. If you take too much luggage, they will charge you for the extra luggage because that's weight. And listen, it's okay to be number one. And I'm not saying don't want to be number one. Always should strive to be the best. But sometimes when you get to the top, there's a lot of problems up there. And I don't care who you
Yes.
are, from Tiger Woods, great example. Richard Pryor, great example. Oprah catches hell. It doesn't matter who. You can name a lot of people on the top of their game, and you're in the news. My best friend Seinfeld, you can't be yourself. You can't walk out of the house because cameras are on you everywhere you go. Anderson Cooper, whatever you do, they're watching every move you make. So I'm teaching the young people, you don't need to make all the money in the world. Just make enough that you can live on and have some fun. Just be on your way up the mountain. Don't worry about being on top of the mountain. It's kind of like Dr. King says, I've been to the top of the mountain. Well, I changed it over. And I looked over and I seen, well, I really didn't see that much. So
You are so funny. And I have to tell you, so I had Alonzo Bowden on a couple months ago, and we were talking about this your late night comedy show that you guys did, and that you were one of the guests on there. And so I said to myself, I need to get George on the podcast because I've been a fan for a very long time, and I've seen all this press that you've done. And my point is that I was thinking about it as I did research and everything. You've never really had, and we talked about this with the other comedians, any sort of negative press that's been said about you other than somebody maybe just having a bad day, like no drugs, none of that crazy stuff, no money problems.
I never did any drug ever. But
So I want to ask you,
let me hit on some wood, you know.
yeah, I
No.
know, right? The one time
Yeah, right. The
you
one time.
always, yeah, that is great. Have you had somebody in your life that has kind of, when you started out early on, and I want to talk about this, but when you really first got your break, did you have mentors in your life that really helped you stay out of trouble? And like you mentor comedians now, did you have somebody like that that you worked with or still work with maybe?
No, let me tell you what I had. I grew up in a place called Linwood Park, a little Black community in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm 1 mile away from Linwood Park right now. I grew up in a neighborhood, you know, you heard of a village raising a kid?
Yes.
I grew up in a village. I grew up with parents, two parents in the home, my mom and my daddy. And I'm not going to say they were child abusers, but I'm going to say if we had child abuse laws back then, my mama would probably be getting out of jail about right now,
Yeah.
about this time. But I'm not saying we were disciplined very well and taught to do the right things, had the great parents. And when you're taught to do the right thing, right and wrong, you can't go wrong. I'm kind of a Christian kid, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. And just, that's why I think I might be able to be a great politician. I might be too old, but just do the right thing, what's right and wrong. Help the people. Don't get involved in all of this political BS. And as you can see, most of the people in Washington, D.C. are in it for money. And that's why I like the new young kids that are coming up, the John Ossoffs and the Warnoff, these people that really are interested in people as opposed to money. And I might say this wrong, so I'm going to try to say it right. And the problem with America is too many rich old white men, okay? And
I would agree with that. I think that's
Okay.
fair.
and you know, I don't mean, there's some good ones up there, but I think that most of them are in it. They may not be rich when they go in, but they are certainly rich when they come out. And there's always some money connections, all of them. So it doesn't. So I think maybe we should have some term limits, and because I don't even know how I got into this. Just do the right thing, okay?
Yeah.
So me mentoring young kids now is just telling people to make sure you enjoy your life and make sure don't worry about what other people are doing. There's a different path for each career. Be you, be honest to you. You don't have to make all the money in the world, as I said before. There's enough money out there for you, whatever you like. You know, Sam Kinison was horrible when he started comedy. But what did he do? He kept being horrible, and then he got himself a horrible following.
Interesting how those two connect with each other. I I want to ask you. There's so many things that I want to
And
talk
when I said
about.
horrible, I didn't mean horrible in a bad way. I meant he found his market. Okay.
He did, yeah. That was kind of how he sort of became who he was, and I think even later on in life, he was very transparent about some of the choices that he made early on in his career. And that documentary that came out on one of the streaming channels, the Comedy Store, where they're telling stories of
Yes.
people and all of that, obviously if he were still living, he would probably have a lot to say. But it's interesting, the theme of this conversation is so, I think, timely, because you have been in the comedy game for decades, and you've told the story hundreds of times. You knew at a young age that you wanted to do comedy, but you also grew up in a strong family. You went to college, you got your degrees, and then there's this time gap where all of a sudden you get a writing job on the Redd Foxx Show. So if you could share with us a little bit about, like, sort of, obviously it was not an instant success for you. You had a slow burn and then you became huge. So like what happened in between there as far as, like, from when you graduated school and went into writing for Redd Foxx Show, which is a big deal, and then doing stand up?
And I'm going to correct you with the slow burn. I never had a slow moment in my life. I've been so blessed
Yes.
since I
Yes.
was 6 years old, coming to a family and going to college, and I left. My mom died when I was 16. That was a big blow. And when she walked out of the house, she said, "Baby, I'm going to the hospital. I will not be back, but don't you worry about
Wow.
a thing in life. Your life has been taken care of." So being 16-year-old boy, you think, Mom going to the hospital, she'll be back like everybody else. So she didn't come back. So I leave and I go to Ohio, Akron, Ohio, to live with my sister. Have you ever lived with a sibling? Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh,
that's interesting.
he says, you said, Brett said, "Oh yeah."
You could see the look on my face. Yeah, I have.
So that worked out and my sister and I, we became best friends, but living together, oh God. And she was older than me, so she thought she was my mother, telling me what to do. And when you're at 17, you can't tell me nothing. Remember when you were 17 and 18, you can't tell me nothing. I know everything. My first quarter in college, so I got out, and then I met another family, and I went into their homes. Mr. and Mrs. Hill, they considered me their kid. I became one of their kids. I went to college. I was a dorm counselor at University of Akron after one quarter. Now, what are you supposed to be? Before you become a dorm, an RA, you got to be in your third year of college. I was blessed after one quarter. Where'd that come from? That was a blessing. I have 3 degrees, and Brett, I may have paid $4,000 for those. Money came in from all kinds of places. So I studied. I wanted to be a comedian since 6 years old, but I said I want to go to college and have something to fall back on, because when I grew up, I had my Johnny Carson, my Redd Foxx, my Red Skelton, my not necessarily Rodney Dangerfield, but moms, maybe a lot of older comedians saying they didn't know where their next meal was coming from. Well, I didn't want to do that. So I finished college and I went to New York City and I read the New York Times. Back in the day, if you wanted a job, you would read a section of the paper called the want ads.
Hmm.
And I saw an ad that said 75 to $300 a day. And I checked it out and I called them in and we had an interview, and it was selling rags, real rags. You ever been to an auto shop where they
Yeah,
take the old
yeah.
rags everybody needs a rag. You need a rag, you'd be surprised. I had to go back to Akron, Ohio, a company called Cleveland Cotton Products. I sold the ShamWow products back in 1971. It was just a
Wow.
blue cloth with no name. And I sold one of my big sales. The first time I made $3,500 in a day. I sold to Earl Scheib. You might remember Earl Scheib used to be an auto painting shop, blah, 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 blah. So I made so much money in that day in New York City. So Earl Scheib decided they wanted to go nationwide with this reusable product as the ShamWow, because you could wash it and reuse it again. But that was so much money, the company in Cleveland took the account away from me because I was making 15 cents on every dollar.
Too much
So
money for their taste, it seems like.
that seems like it was. What happened to my account? Well, something happened. They took me off the account because that was just nothing but money. Can you imagine if I make $3,500 in one day just in Brooklyn, New York? how much money I would have been making and so I would have been making as much money as the president. But in any case, I was making a lot of money selling rags. I sold rags to all of the bus companies in New York City bus transit system. And I found out somebody was making like, only sold rags for like 10 months. And I was making like $35,000, $40,000. This is back in the 70s. That was a lot of money back then.
Yeah.
Then I heard somebody was making $75,000 selling advertising on buses in New York City. That's when I get back to New York. I was talking to a friend at Ammonia Square in Athens, Greece. When I get back, I'm going to sell advertising on buses because they're already my customer. And I went in and I took the job. So I was making $75,000, $76,000 with advertising all the 5,000 buses in New York City. Everything at Times Square, the spectaculars, the billboards at Times Square right now. I was vice president. I became vice president of that company. So in 1976, I was selling ads. I said, let me go into this comic strip, comedy club in New York. I want to put them on the back of every bus in New York City. Sure enough, I talked to Richard Tinkin used to be Eddie Murphy's manager, into going on back of the buses. So you go up and down the street, the comic strip, eat, drink, and laugh at the comic strip. And I said, and by the way, I have a little comedy act. They said, well, come back in and show us what you do. I went in on Thursday night audition, and I basically have been on stage every night since then.
Wow.
Every night since then. And then I did that for 6 months in New York City, and I became so good. You know, when you're getting standing ovations every night, you need to move to another level. I thought, okay, I need to go to where the big boys are and get on the bottom of the tier again. So I went to California, went out there and having fun on stage. And I did the Comedy Store audition. And I ripped that place apart and I came off. You know, you're a little young kid, you don't know what you do. You go, I went to Mitzi Shore and I said, I'm George. I was just on stage, just checking in and said how I do. Well, you're not right for my club. You can't work for me.
Wow.
Oh my God, that's the blow though. That was a big blow. I'm going, wait a second. I've been accepted everywhere I came to, you know, I've been doing, and I was so hurt, but I'm so stupid. That was on a Monday night audition. I said, I can't work at a club. Damn, I come out here, this is the place to be. So I said, F it. I called in anyways to get spots.
Even though you hadn't been passed by Mitzi, you still did it.
Brett, the lady told me in my face, I cannot work for her. I'm not right for her club. I said, F it, I'm calling in anyways. And just left my name. And I called the next day for spots. I had 5 spots.
Wow.
And I said, yeah, she's crazy. You know, because the word was out that she was crazy. The lady just told me last night, I can't work for her. Apparently she had me mixed up with, I don't know what it was, but she gave me 5 spots. And I was working every night since then. And then not only that, I went over to the Improv. At the day, you can work at both clubs. But I'm a decent person. I don't play games. I just want to do comedy. So I worked at Improv and the Comedy Store, back and forth, back and forth. And then they saw me on stage one night at the Comedy Store, and they said, we'd like for you to write the Redd Foxx Show. I said, I'm not into writing. I never did this before. I don't even know what I'm doing myself right now. Even at that time, I was doing a character. I was in a big robe because I was out of the South. All I knew was make fun of the preacher at the church. I had a big robe called Reverend George Wallace. And I had, you're not old enough to remember this, but they used to have a yellow page phone book.
I remember that vaguely when I was little. My mom used to have those laying around the house.
Well, she had no choice. They sent them every 6 months.
Yeah, we would have them piled up on the porch.
And so my character was the Reverend George Wallace, and I had the big, thick yellow book that was called The Good Book of Bell. That was my Bible. Whatever you want, look it up in the book. I think I should bring the character back and just because, and use the book because everything is in the yellow pages that you might want to do, and I could get some jokes. In any case, it could be a good 5-10 minute bit. But I did that. I wrote the Redd Foxx Show for a year. It was not Sanford and Son, because I never knew. First of all, I never knew because I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, and we were really poor. And when in my neighborhood, we never knew there was a Son. All we could watch was Sanford. And no, that's just going into one of my tweets. Okay.
We'll get to those at the end here because you are definitely known for your tweets. I love it.
Yeah. So, but in any case, I wrote the Redd Foxx Show, and the next thing you know, you're thinking like, damn, he's doing the jokes, but he's not doing them right. So I said, well, let me do my own jokes. So after a year, I went back into stand up and all. I never wanted to do television. I never knew anything about television and or movies. I just wanted to be a working comedian, and I knew about Las Vegas, and that's where I wanted to go. And even my best friend Seinfeld and I, as we were growing up, we heard that there were comedians in Las Vegas. Don Rickles, Shecky Green, a lot. They were making $300,000-$400,000 a year.
Wow.
That's all Brett, do you hear what I said? 300. That was back in the 77, 78, $300,000-$400,000. Who the hell wants? I never thought about money. I always knew I was going to make money, but $300,000 was enough, and still is enough if you're just having fun. And all I do, it's not it is a 24-hour job, 365, 24/7. It is, but all I do is lie. I just make up shit. I just lie. I just love lying.
I have to tell you, George, you have had just a career that spans. You've just done a lot and just instant success. I appreciate you clarifying the fact that you were doing comedy before you started writing for the Redd Foxx Show, and then you didn't. That was fun, and then you heard about that and Seinfeld and making the money, and so really you kind of went about it in a way that there was a clear path, clearly, and you knew what you wanted. But I guess my question was the 80s comedy boom. I hear a lot about that. Everybody going out to LA. And essentially, I was talking to Bill Engvall a couple days ago, and he was telling me, one of his regrets was not going out to LA soon enough, because really at that time they were giving out sitcoms to everybody pretty much. You did the clubs, and then you either went on Carson or one of those talk shows, and then from there the phone would ring and you would have essentially a sitcom at your doorstep.
You actually said it right. I often said, had I got into comedy 2 years earlier, you never would have heard of Jimmy J.J. Walker. Ain't no way in hell he would have beat me out of that role. I was a little skinny guy, and I think I was, my head is big. I think I would have beat him out of that job, okay? But everything happens at the right time. It was not an instant success for me. And you need to know this, and let me explain something to you right now. I'm still working. I'm still new.
Really?
So
in what regard? Well, I hear you say that a lot.
I'm learning how to do this. Like, I love hanging around young comedians, and
okay,
I'm looking at younger comedians. I'm going like, oh my God. I'm looking at Kathleen Madigan. I don't know whether you want to call her young or not. JB Smooth. I don't know whether they call him young or not. I'm looking at DC Youngblood, all these young comedians kicking ass, Kevin Hart, all these young kids. And I'm looking at them and going like, oh my God, I got some work to do. And especially the new ones coming up, a new style coming in and what they're doing. And I do tours with Mike Epps and all of these comedians, and I'll be kicking ass too. Let's make it perfectly clear. They may be young. And
yeah, I mean, you have seamlessly weaved in and out of all of these eras of comedy. It's funny, even Alonzo Bowden said the same thing. He's like, well, I missed a comedy boom, but I've still had a great career. And not to mention the fact that, you get a job where he described it as a lifetime lottery job. You have a 1 in a million chance, you make it, you have a good life. And he was more concerned about being funny and telling good jokes than, being a hangout guy at the Comedy Store and meeting, Bill Burr, as he put it. And that's a direct quote. So for him, it was more about, just being able to work and be
just being in the business, just being involved, just being around.
Yeah.
And you couldn't ask a better guy. That's one of my favorite comedians, Alonzo Bowden.
I love Alonzo.
This guy is so smart, and I try to push him everywhere I go. We do a show on Thursday night called Live with Sybil Wilkes. I bring him on because I did a radio show for so many years with Tom Joyner. And Alonzo is right in the middle there. He's about maybe 15 years younger than me, but some of the older people need to know about him and how smart he is. And I'm introducing him to those people, and they love him. They love him.
He's the
and
best.
The voice alone is crazy. He is so smart. He's so quick. And he's just such a great guy. And so, but he's still new. I'm still new. You will always be new as long as you watch MSNBC and CNN. You will always be new. That's the difference in a good comedian and a bad comedian. You got to keep up with new jokes, new times,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and even in your live show, which I have not had the opportunity to see, I've never even been to Vegas. I know that sounds weird. People tell me
You
they're
haven't been
like,
to Las Vegas ever, and you live in Los Angeles?
yeah,
Are
it's
you broke?
no, it's I know. See, you're the same thing. It's crazy. Like it's kind of like people saying, they say to me, "You've never been to Hawaii before." I know. I need to get out
Stop it. So,
more.
ho, 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 ho. Listen to me. Brett, you're talking to the wrong guy. I apologize. My first degree is in transportation. If there's one thing I believe in, if there's one thing I believe in, it's travel. You
Oh
got
no,
to
trust
travel.
me. I get it. I So here's the deal. Not making excuses. I feel like now I'm sitting in the front row at one of your shows and now I'm in that space of getting heckled for answering a
You
question
get
doing
heckled from me. I'm heckling you, right?
I would
Yeah.
rather if there's anybody that could heckle me, George, it could be you. So I do have a 6-year-old, and we were planning on taking some trips, and then COVID hit. So there's a Legoland hotel there, I guess, and that was kind of what we were going to do. And then
Legoland right across the street from me here in Atlanta, right? You can be over there in 5 minutes. You want to come here? Five minutes.
let's do it. Let's do it.
I never.
And
I don't even know what Legoland is. I know there's something. Maybe it's
it's
a theme
it's
park
it's a
inside.
6-year-old's dream apparently.
Okay,
And my kid tells me every day that he wants to go there, but
do that. Do that.
I was reading as doing research that even when you were doing your residency and your other show, that your shows change up every night, like, or every set is different, right? Because you just are always, you know, as your hat says, I'd be thinking you're just kind of keeping things fresh and new. So when you're doing that, are you doing material that you have already pre-written, or is this something that is just essentially off the cuff and you're testing out material for, let's say, a special or an album, or you're just being you and performing?
Whatever you said, yes to all of those. Okay, it's a combination of all of those.
I love it.
My show is different every night because I don't know what's happening. I don't know who's coming in late every night. I don't know what's going to. You know, I do shows like somebody coming in late. I go, now if you guys think I'm not going to talk about you for walking in here late, you got to be crazy. Why are you late? Where you from? And they will say something like they're from Dubai. Oh, I was in Dubai yesterday. And no matter where you're from, I was there yesterday. And then I'm talking on the show, I was in Cleveland yesterday. And after about 15 minutes into the show, people start going, didn't he just say he was in New Orleans yesterday? Didn't he just say he was in Hawaii yesterday? And then after a while, people start, I was in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And they'll go, yesterday, you saw me? But basically, we were talking about traveling. I have been everywhere. And so I love traveling. I've been everywhere. Basically, I can give you a location that you can relate to, one of the better restaurants from Shanghai to Singapore to Macau to Kyrgyzstan to Istanbul to, of course, London, England. I've been everywhere. So that's why the show is different. I don't know what it's called, crowd work or what, but I talk to people. You know what it's like? It's not a show. It's like a family event.
It's
We
an
get together.
experience.
It's an experience, yeah. And things happen. I think one of the greatest things that ever happened to me in my personality, that one night at the Flamingo in Las Vegas, sold out house, 800 people, and a lady did come in late. And I said, why? Look, what the hell? And she was blind,
Oh
a
no.
blind lady. I said, who the hell, why the hell you walking up in here late? You got somebody to lead and guide your ass around here. You walking in here late. I said that to the blind lady. Then I said to her, look at all these other people in this room that got here.
Oh boy.
Look, hey, listen to me. The place was rolling.
I'm
I said,
sure.
you got somebody to lead and guide your ass. It was done in the right way and in the right taste. And I tell everybody, I will never, I'll talk about you like a dog, but I will never embarrass you because you pay my bills. I'm talking about
I
this
like
blind
that.
lady. I'm talking to this blind lady, and she said she's standing in the middle of, she still didn't sit down yet. She's down like the night, and she's just pointing at me. And I said, and you ain't that damn blind because you pointing straight at me, you know? So in any case, so I say, when I talk to somebody later, I says, you're late, you come disturbing everybody, just go ahead and sit in that booth right there. I have my personal booth for people to come in that come in late. I said, just sit in there and just sit in that booth right there since we We thank you for coming to the show. Take my booth. God bless you. Enjoy the show. Then I'll say, waiter, take her that booth. Get them anything they want to share. One drink. If you want. Then I said, you know what is so much fun is I said, what are you drinking? They said, we'll have a bottle of water. Not in here. I bet damn if I'm paying $10 for a bottle of water, you better get you some whiskey. You take your ass across the street. I'm not paying $10 for no bottle of water. Okay. So my show is the experience and having fun and staying relevant and watching the news. I'm running for every 4 years. I run for president like everybody else. What's going on in the city? Just the experience of coming to Las Vegas. The whole world is crazy. It's all a lie. Everything is a lie. That's my job. Is right now. I wrote a joke. I don't know how I'm going to make this funny now because I did the joke last month. It was about I'm trying to Yelp Santa Claus, the services of Santa Claus. Because I wasn't too happy with his services. Santa Claus came on my balcony, and I heard the noise out there. And I'm going, what the hell is going on? Late Christmas night, all these noise going out there. And I looked out, and it was Santa Claus out there with the reindeers and everything, and in the sleigh. And I'm just going, I don't want to be disrespectful, but I opened the door, and he was dropping off gifts. That's nice, but he dropped off a gift for my daughter. And I'm going, don't be dropping shit off over here, but don't you? That's your job to drop off stuff. You know where she lived, drop it off over there. So I'm complaining to Yep about a Santa service. So you should be dropping off things over here for me to drop off. That's your job, So I'm trying to make stuff like that funny. It may not make any sense, but it doesn't bother me. And people just share it. I try to, I just try to do funny shit. Like right now, maybe I'm old, but I just went to the grocery store the other day while I was online. This is a fragrance, an aftershave called Aqua Velva. It's for old men. Like it's older than Old Spice. It's only $3.46 a bottle.
My dad used to use that when he was living. Yeah, I know exactly all about that.
I still like the fragrance, so I had to buy it. Let me put a little bit on for you right now. It's such a great fragrance. It's one of those. So I'm just sitting around doing stupid stuff like that, talking about what's going on in America, and it keeps me up to date. We got, if you can't laugh now, we got a new president, so I'm all into that. And I got Biden in, and I love me some Biden. I like him, but sometimes I don't like him because
sure
he's sometimes I don't like him because he's been all presidential and stuff. That's good, but it ain't funny. He's presidential. He's coming in and with using 4-letter words like plan. When the last time in the last 4 years we never heard the word plan?
No.
That's it's good, but it ain't funny. It ain't funny.
Yeah. A lot of comedians have said, like especially the ones that are more politically inclined.
Yes.
Like the Bill Maher's and the Lewis Blacks, legends like yourself who base a lot of their comedy on politics. And now they're kind of like, even Alonzo was saying, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to start thinking of some other things, but eventually, as he mentioned, give somebody enough time, and then you'll have something to talk about.
But then you can talk about it in opposite direction in the way I'm going now, like talking about his COVID team. Joe Biden walks in here with doctors and scientists and people from the infectious disease committee walking in with all these professionals and he has a plan. He didn't walk in with family members and some guy from mypillow.com for his. So you have to go that direction. And I woke up this morning and I thought, okay, I can't fight Trump anymore. By the way, we need to have a garage sale too, because I got all these Trump jokes laying around. I got to get rid of them. So, but I just, now I'm going to go off on Lindsey Graham and Jim Jordan, because they talk a lot of crap too. So I said, I just go off on them, these hateful people. Why are people mean, Brett?
I don't know. I get it. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. I just, as I sit here and we talk and you're just telling all of these great stories, I really hope that this all ends soon. I want to ask you, you're in Atlanta now. We mentioned that early on in our conversation.
Oh, I should be wearing Georgia blue. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Are you going to go back to Vegas eventually when
Hell,
you can?
yes, I'm going to go back to Vegas. I'm going to go. I have a real good situation. You talking about instant success. I'm just getting ready to go to work. I have a deal with the great Norman Lear, believe it or not. 97 years old Norman Lear.
Wow.
George Wallace and Laverne Cox. So I wanted to go back and do another Sanford and Son, but this time it's going to be Wallace and Daughter.
Really?
Same story, and he loved it. I'm one of the few people that Norman Lear has worked with as a new producer, executive partner in many years, and we've known each other for a long time. And I basically wanted to do Sanford and Son. He says, "No, hell no, do you." So you do anything. And when we go to the meetings, guess what? He's at every meeting with every
Yeah, I've
executive,
heard.
studio exec, with his hat on. And so when you walk in with Norman Lear, it's not just a guy you need to talk to. Everybody wants to come down and sit in the meeting. So Norman Lear, we walk in and we pitch the idea, and he says to the people, "Well, we got a deal or not?" He just flat out asks them like that.
Wow.
And he gets it done. So that's how good he is. He's still sharp as hell. He's so sharp. We were doing a reading, and I don't like to read my comical as a comedian. I just like to do shit and get the part out as nice and keeping the point of the story and just have fun with it. And he's like me. And even one of the guys said, "Don't read it like that, just do you." And we did it, and we got to a point, and Norman Lear says, "Go ahead and say fuck." Because we're just in the meeting. What the fuck? So, and that just brought everything together. And I was surprised he's up to date. He knows what's going on to sell a show. And so just think Laverne Cox and I'm the daddy, and people are going to learn a lot about live and let live. And we're going to try to educate America, not only about her transgender, but it could be for many a reason that people left home at 16 and 17 to go to New York and go to Los Angeles to become who they are. It might be a drug problem. It could be anything, but we're going to try to help you and help America understand. Like we're going to take the transgender into the Black church, which is the worst place to ever go. But they got to learn how to love and accept people.
I love it.
Yeah. So, and it's all about letting live as long as you're not hurting anybody. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back to Las Vegas. My name is still on the marquee. Big as hell up there on the biggest marquee, one of the biggest marquees in Las Vegas.
I love it.
But I don't want to go back too soon, Brett. I'm not in a hurry. I'm not in a hurry to go back too soon. I have at least 1,000. I got them. I got my mask.
I mean, you're in a good situation now. So I'm guessing I have a couple more questions here as we wrap.
Yeah, because I don't have 30 minutes. I don't. Matter of fact, get a lot because I don't have 30 minutes of time to talk. I don't know how we're going to fill 30 minutes. Okay, so.
Well, we're a little over 40 minutes. I love it. I think it's great.
Stupid? Oh my God! I guess I do talk.
No, this has been one of the best conversations. So you're going to go back.
You are wrong. I'm supposed to be talking about this book, Bull Twit. That's what I'm supposed to be.
Let's talk about the book, Bull Twit. Talk about the book. Your publicist said, make sure we cover that. And then we can call it a wrap. If people follow you on Twitter, they know that you are just the best. Let's talk about your book and what that's about and how people could get it, George.
The book you can get, let's start off that way. The book is called Bull Twit and Whatnot. Bull Twit and Whatnot. My mind is so screwed up. I wanted to say, because for me, it was all bulls. And I didn't, I said, well, let's make it Bull Twit and Whatnot. Because I'm an older guy. Most people my age would never get into this tweeting. And right now, I'm a little lazy. I'm a procrastinator. I should be well into Instagram. I should be well into TikTok. What I did with you today, I could have chopped this up into 10 TikToks. But I'm too stupid. I'm too stupid to have done that. So, but I wrote the book. I said, why should I give away jokes for free? Then I thought about it and I learned more about it. There's 500 million tweets per day. People that never would see George Wallace or even know George Wallace. They're not going to be able to come to Las Vegas and see me. So I said, you know what, let's do it. I did it, and I'm so proud I did it today because I got so many people following me now. I'm up at almost close to 1 million followers, and it's amazing what I do because it's online ramblings out of my head. Me and my team, my assistants in my office, me trying to break my jokes, my 30-minute jokes down into 140 or 280 characters. They help me do it, and then we get it done. But I'm glad I did it. And this little just ramblings in my head makes no sense whatsoever until you get into the flow of things. Did we send you a book by any chance?
No, but I can reach out to your publicist and tell her that I would like one, or I can buy one and just support your.
Oh, you just hit the magic word. You can buy one.
I'll just buy one, and we
George
will
Wallace would.
actually, when this goes live, we will put links in our show notes so people can buy the book.
We'll make sure you get a book, okay? And the book, you go to georgewallace.com, georgewallace.net. This time I be thinking my first book was called Laugh It Off. This time I said, you know what? Amazon takes half your products. You know that. You know that's why they're making so much money, right?
Right.
So I decided, come straight to me, georgewallace.net, georgewallace.com. We're going to give it a shot. My fulfillment center is in Las Vegas, and we're already into our second printing. So
Wow.
These tweets are my online ramblings coming from my head. They're stupid thoughts coming from my head. How poor I was growing up, like I said, things I'll straight up do, like I'll just stupid thoughts. I'll eat cupcakes out of a pan and pancakes out of a cup. I don't care. I don't play by the rules. Stupid things I do. I'll just straight up, I'll listen to the Pet Shop Boys on a back street, and I'll listen to the Backstreet Boys while I'm in a pet shop. I don't give a damn. I don't play by the damn rules. Okay.
You never have.
I have never played by the rules. I'll pick my teeth with an ice pick. Then again, I'll pick ice with a toothpick. I don't give a damn. So we talk about little things like that, and we just have fun in the book. But my jokes they're funny, but the replies, really funny. The replies, like I had a shout out to the top 5 bells in the world. The top 5 bells in the world. Shout out to Liberty Bell, Saved by the Bell, Tinker Bell, Cowbell, Jingle Bell, and whatnot. And you know what my replies were? Oh my God, somebody said, I guess Taco gets no love, huh? I went, oh my God. And then all of a sudden hit me, what about bell bottoms? Then it went crazy. They said, Mr. Wallace, you are so dumb, Bell. And so the answers, the replies are just beautiful. So my next book that's coming up will be called More Bull Twit and Whatnot, with some of the replies attached with my saying. It's just so cool. Shout out to the top 5 bulls in the world. Shout out to just top 5 Bretts. So I got to come up with the top 5 Bretts in the world. Okay.
There you go. George Brett Michaels. I don't know. There's 2. So
that was a professional wrestler named Brett something, wasn't it? Bret
Bret
Hart?
the Hitman Hart. So there's 3.
See, there you go.
Brett Allen, the podcaster, which I'm a nobody compared to those guys,
but at the end, it would be you. So
love it.
But what's so good about it, other people will come up with the answers. You don't have to reply. It can be Brett, and then they can just combine Brett with something, other words. In any case, it's a lot of fun doing it.
Yes. Well, I would love to have you back again. I think you are just the best, George. You've been so kind and gracious with your time. Again, we will link the show notes. We will link the book and all the other resources we've mentioned. And
you need to have me back, Brett. You know why?
Why?
Because you did nothing today. You talked about nothing. We accomplished nothing today. Brett, how much more? We got so much to talk about, the times that are going on, where I come from, where you come from, just sharing life with traveling with you. I need to learn more about your travel, you and your family. You learn more about me, but you need to know that I appreciate you having me on. I appreciate, I ain't got no job. So I have no job.
Talk to anybody like myself.
I'll talk to anybody, but this has been fun. And I always like to close the show with it. Thank you so much. I love you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it.
Thank you very much, George, for being with me today. I appreciate it.
You should appreciate it. And I'm serious too. You got to call back, because it's some bullshit. You called here for 30 minutes. What do you think?